Welcome back to my bookshelf. I need to go through my books, my shelf here, and figure out what books I don't want on my shelves anymore. Like, it's a big UnHaul today, guys. I want to get rid of some books and make room for books that I have been loving this year and stuff, and just cleanse my bookshelf if I'm not gonna read it again, or if it wasn't that high of a rating to begin with, or if I don't remember much of it. I need to clear it off. I don't know how much there will be on the shelves specifically, but I do have a huge UnHaul pile over here that I've been working on throughout the majority of the year. So I'll go through at the end all of the books that I'm going to be unhauling kind of for like the end of the year type of thing. And there might be a couple that I add here at the last month, but we will just see how it goes. I honestly have not been loving Nicholas Sparks as much lately, but I need to reread these ones that I read forever ago to see if I want to keep them. I haven't done that yet, so we're just gonna ignore that. I realized I could have done my decorating video first, but I wanted to do this first, guys, so the decos are staying for a little bit. This is The Country Guest House by Robin Carr. I don't remember this having anything spicy in it. I don't think she's specifically like a no spice author though, and I just remember this being kind of like meh. Like, I ended up liking it okay, but I just don't know if I want to keep meh books on my shelf as much anymore, because I'm pretty sure this was just a 3-star and I don't remember a ton about it. And I'm kind of sitting here like, will I read this again? Probably not. So bye. I have also been considering about my Sweet Magnolias books because they have some spice in them and I just don't remember how much. I know that the first book was like one thing at the very end and I was like, why? But I feel like the second and third had more in it and I just can't remember how much I had to skip. So I just don't know yet, but sorry, we'll get back to it. Okay, there's a couple like over here that I'm just not completely sure on, but ignore all the ducks. Just, it's a thing. There are 3 here that I have on like my thriller section, and that is The Wife Who Knew Too Much by Michelle Campbell. Now, I remember liking this one pretty well, and I think this one actually like took me by surprise. This was something that I got in the free bin actually somewhere, so I didn't spend any money on it. So it's the large print. But yeah, when I went back to look at my review of this, I think it had like a bunch of stuff that I really don't like to read, and I'm like really like bothers me. So I'm kind of sitting here and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna read this again. So that's one. The Woman in Cabin 10, this is by Ruth Ware. I already unhauled one of her books that I just couldn't get through, but this one was definitely more interesting than that one. I read through it. I think I gave it a 3.5. It's one of those like cruise ship ones that I was actually more interested in. Still all the same. I forgot I read it. I haven't read it again, and I don't know. I just want to keep the best of books. And then last but not least, Shutter by Lori Fari Stollarts. Oh my goodness, it's falling out. I don't remember anything about this one, but my rating was maybe a solid 3 on Goodreads or something. And yeah. I can't remember about it, and I have no desire to read it again. Why would I keep it on my shelf? So, bye! You know, I feel like this is where it gets hard, because even if I don't love all my Agatha Christie, I feel weird giving Agatha Christie books away. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I'm weird. But also, I'm sorry about like the lighting. It keeps glaring. It is snowing outside. Like a lot. The world is white outside, so there's a lot of extra glare in here right now. Yeah. But then I go into all my like non-fiction and Christian and stuff, and I don't know if there's anything there that I want to give away. We'll see. So I don't know, there are some things on here that I was like, I don't know, debating, but there's also like some things I think could be used. And this is another thing with classics, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, some of these classics I really don't like. But I can't give away a classic to save my life. Oh my goodness. Because I'm like, this could be used for a school curriculum. Like, maybe it's going to be one of my kids' favorite books, although that would be crazy because I normally don't like a book for a very good reason. Anyway, but like they could be used, or there's some that are just kind of meh or whatnot. But, and that's kind of like the theme for some of these nonfiction type of things. I was like, well, might need it for this, that, or the other. So, but I did pick out one. I did reread this last year, The Real Me by Being the Girl God Sees by Natalie Grant. And I didn't love it as much the second time through. I felt like she went too deep into some things and that it just didn't have as much good in it. I don't know. I liked the stories in between, but I'm kind of sitting here and I'm like, somebody dealing with the same struggles that she deals with eating disorders, I would not recommend this to, because she gives too many like in-depth details of what she did that I feel like could just be giving people extra ideas and instead of aiding them more, because she doesn't focus on the good as much. So I don't know, I feel like I should just kind of give it away, because like, what use do I have to use? So bye. All right, I have brought you down to the floor. Ignore my boxes of yarn behind me. But there are all these books down here and you still might not be able to see them very well. These are like all the books that I've been reading the past few months that I have yet to like actually put on my shelf. I've just been stacking them, and I'm pretty sure there's a few in here that I don't want to keep. So we're gonna check that out. Okay, so I picked out a few. I'm debating about giving away The Housemaid just because I don't think I'm going to continue on with the series, and it was a lot of drama and just some stuff in it that I was kind of like, do I really want to keep this on my shelf? So I'm debating about that one. Also, Misery by Stephen King. I really don't know. This book was kind of like crazy. And it had so much vile and awful stuff in it, and so I'm kind of like, do I want this on my shelves? At the same time, do we want to keep it just to have one Stephen King? You know, like, I don't know. I don't know, guys. But that's a maybe. And then The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager, I was okay with this. This is kind of like one of his highest rated books on Goodreads, which surprised me and gave me dread for reading any of his other books. It ended a little bit, like the end was a little bit better, but like it was such a slow build up with hardly anything that had to do with anything for most of the book. And I was like, what is going on? Oh gosh, I had to skim through to get through this one. But then again, I'm like, do I need like thriller varieties? If y'all don't know, obviously romance is my favorite genre, but I really pride myself on being a well-rounded reader. I like all genres. I have almost a favorite from every single genre on my shelf, and I enjoy having different books to recommend. But at the same time, I have to be like, I don't have to own a book to recommend a book. But I feel like I forget about it if it's not on my shelves. But I do forget about half the books on my shelf. So what does that say about me? Let's not answer that. Then I have The Glass Menagerie. This is technically, you can't even see it, that glare from the snow. This is technically a classic play. But I'm not like, I don't know, I'm not a big fan. This play, I watched one of my best friends do it, and she was really good in it, and I really enjoyed it watching her. But it is like, I don't know, some of the classics ones are just, there's not as much plot going on, and I don't love that. And I don't know, I got this for really, really cheap, and I just don't know if I want to keep it. There's like a part of me that's like, well, I could keep it so I'd have like a play for a curriculum or something, but then I'm also like, but wouldn't you rather find a better one? So I don't know. All of these I'm telling you I picked out, but I'm like, but will I give them away? I guess we'll see at the end of the video. This is A Heart Realigned, a Peacock Hill romance by Elizabeth Mabry. I liked this one fine. It was sweet. It's a clean Christian romance, but like, it just didn't hit for me. The setting didn't hit for me. The characters didn't hit for me. The little bit of Christian themes in it, it just didn't hit for me. It wasn't my favorite. I think I gave it like a 3 or 3.25. I just don't know if I want to keep it. I mean, it's kind of cute, but like at the same time, again, guys, like especially for romance, like I really want, since that's one of my favorite genres, I really want like my favorites. And I feel like if I just keep a whole bunch of like 3 meh-ish stars, then like it won't give me as much joy. I don't know what I'm saying, but. And then don't be mad at me, this is A Girl's Guide to the Outback by Jessica Kate. This is another like Christian contemporary romance, and I'm so sorry. I wanted to like this so much. I love Australia, I'm obsessed with Australia, but this just did not hit, and the Christian themes hit for like the last little bit of the book, and I felt like it was just so slow. The relationship just, it didn't flow for me a lot. It wasn't bad, and ultimately I enjoyed it, but again, it wasn't one of the best. It wasn't one I really ever want to reread, so I'm like, but it's also such a pretty yellow. Again, maybe I'll gift some of these to some friends. This next one I actually am gonna gift to a friend of mine that I think would like this book a lot more than me, because the things that bothered me in it don't bother her as much. So I'm thinking I'll give the 7-year slip to my dear friend, because this is like one of the most gorgeous, that snow is just making it even like brighter, but it is one of the most gorgeous like covers. I love it so much, and I really like how pretty would that look on my bookshelf. It would look beautiful, but I don't think I'm gonna read this again because of the content in it. Made me so mad. But if I give it to one of my besties, then it'll be on her bookshelf, and I can still appreciate it from time to time. So yeah, and I might have somebody that I could give this one to also that might enjoy it more. So, because Christmas is coming up, so just, trying to save all the moolah while still being giving. Yeah, that's what I picked so far. I'm like looking back here and I'm like, this is another one that I'm like not sure if I want to keep or not. The Bromance Book Club by Lisa K. Adams. I'm not going to be reading anymore. This did have an open door scene in it, I believe. I think it was just one. I liked the concept, but I don't think I liked the execution of the concept as well as I was hoping it was going to be. It's also such a pretty book though, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I keep this one? I guess I'll put it aside for right now. I forgot that I had that entirely. This is one that I got for our book club, and I enjoyed it fine, but it also does have some weird, I don't know. I'll probably keep this one. It has some weird stuff, but like I liked it, and it's small. I don't know. I'm gonna put that one back for right now. And I know everybody's like, oh, why don't you give away Airframe? Because you said you didn't. Yeah, well, my dad gave me Airframe, and it was one of his books that he had forever, and I'm not at the stage of my grief that I can part with that yet, so yeah. This is all like my kids stuff, so I'm probably not gonna give anything away here. Yeah, I don't think so. Well, I helped a little bit. Like, I somewhat helped, right? I have 6, 8 to 10, 12, I think 14 books that I took off my shelf here. I definitely could do more, and honestly, I'm kind of thinking of looking at a couple of like what my rating was at the time of a couple on the shelf, and I don't know, just considering like reevaluating. And I'm really thinking about some of those classics. Like, I hate The Scarlet Letter, guys. I hate it. I hate the way that it's written. I hate it. And I have like this really fancy copy of it, but I don't like the fancy copy either because it's like a leathery wrap, and I don't like it. So I'm kind of debating about that one too. I'll get back to you. Alright guys, this is the finished bookshelf version. I got all my new books that I've been reading this year on here. I rearranged a little bit, so, and I think I accidentally forgot to pause when I switched these two shelves, so I'm gonna go through it. This is all my romance, which from like here to here is so colorful and I love it so much. So apparently I need to get more colorful romance books. And there is a possibility that I might give away some of these Nicholas Sparks books, but I'd like to reread them to see first. So I haven't done that yet. So, but a few of those might go away. And then I got my new classics up here too. And I did have this by order of publication originally. That went out the window when my daughter just rifled through it and I was like, I am not doing that again. So I just like put some of my favorites towards the front and then just zigzagged it a little bit, and then it ends over here. A couple of these are like nonfiction about classics or whatnot. And then I went into Agatha Christie, my mysteries. I only have like one mystery that isn't Agatha Christie, so, but she's considered a classic author, so I figured that'd be good next to each other. And then the thriller and sci-fi thriller stuff I put right next to it. And then Powerless starts out our fantasy-esque genre, and then up into sci-fi slash dystopian here, and all the way up here. And then we have my little Star Wars, and then this is all my Christian non-fiction all the way up to here. I'm getting a good stack here. And then I have my graphic novels and manga. So as you can see, there's number 2 and then number 2. That's because number 1 is downstairs on my favorite shelf of both those. So it is so much fun seeing like my newer books that I've gotten this year and read this year though on the shelf already. And then I have my general fiction novels here, and then I have 2 Christian fiction, which is apparently all I've read and kept as of this at this point. And then I have historical fiction to here, not a lot. And then this is just general nonfiction. And then this starts out my children slash middle grade, and that goes over here. I'm missing a book because my daughter pulled it out. There it is. I'm missing that book. And then down here, I kind of stacked my Rick Riordan, the original Percy Jackson series, then the Heroes of Olympus series. This is the Demigod Files little extra, and then the Kane Chronicles, which I really like the Kane Chronicles. And that doesn't have any of his new gross stuff in it either. And then Harry Potter, put Mysterious Benedict Society, the first book, on top of that. And then I realized in another video I said I read up to 10, but I'd actually read up to 11. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm literally just missing the last 2. So of a series of unfortunate events, and then I've got Kiki up there, last few little ones right here with my illustrated first 3 of Harry Potter. This is the Felicity books, and then I've got like just 2 random kids books stuffed up here. So yeah, that is my shelf. I like it. I feel like I see more pops of color now throughout, and I really like that, and I love seeing the new books, so yay. So we have right on my bookshelf and taking down the fall decos to do that. And we went through it about unhauling some stuff, and I already had some unhauled. I'm gonna now go through I believe it is 40 books that I am unhauling. Yay. I'm gonna try to do this quick. We'll see how well I can do. So, the first one I've got here is Mary Higgins Clark, All by Myself Alone. I believe I tried to read this for Trimming the TBR. It is a suspense thriller. I just couldn't get into it, so it's being unhauled. The next is Sandcastle Bay by Cheryl Woods, an Ocean Breeze novel. This was one that I couldn't get into. I didn't want to get into. I had read others, and I also think this was a Trimming the TBR, and I don't know. Anything outside of the Sweet Magnolia series, it's just never like more than like a 3 or 3.25 or something like that for me, so I just didn't want to push through it just for a 3-star read. Another Cheryl Woods book, Dogwood Hill, Chesapeake Shores novel. I actually enjoyed this one okay, but again, I think it was a 3.5. I don't see myself ever reading it again, so I'm just gonna give it. And then The Best of Us by Robin Carr. Again, another Trimming the TBR video.
man, that video series has like helped me so much with actually getting rid of books that I don't need or like very much. But I got a little bit into this and just kind of felt like the same. I just couldn't get too much into it. Wasn't my thing. Didn't want to push through. For 3 stars. Is The Country Guest House by Robin Carr. I actually had this on my shelf because I had read this and I did enjoy this one. At the same time though, I don't really have much desire to ever read it again. So I was just kind of like, I want more space on my shelves for books that I actually want to reread and really enjoy. And another one by Cheryl Woods, Willowbrook Road, another Chesapeake Shores novel. I really enjoyed this one too, but again, these were like the 10th and 11th, I feel like, in the series, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to read that many in the series, and I don't really just want, you know, a couple in the series that I just don't have much desire to reread. So we have Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. Honestly, I was excited for this one, but this one had been on my TBR for a long time, and this one, as I started reading it, I could tell it had some content stuff already popping up, and I went and searched and I found that there was a lot more like bad content that I don't like to read in it, so I just put it in my UnHaul pile. Next, Lucy Don't Kill Me, but I'm giving away Emma by Jane Austen. I have read this in high school and I hated it, and I've since then tried to reread it twice and not been able to. I just do not like this novel. I'm sorry, Lucy. Don't hate on me. This is one of her favorites, so, but I just, yeah, it can go to a better home. Right, next is Shakespeare's Henry V. I'm not a Shakespeare fan, guys. I'm really not. I don't like his work very much. I don't have any desire to read a lot from him. When I do read, it's more like parody type of things, and I enjoy that, but I don't like his straight up work, so it's going to a better home than me. And this one was Naomi Simone, The Road to Rosebud. I enjoyed this one okay, but it also had a little bit of content stuff in it, and yeah, I'm never gonna read it again, and it was only like a 3 or so stars. Jackson's Follow Your Heart. This was another Trimming the TBR, I'm pretty sure, and I didn't get very far into it at all. Like, it just wasn't interesting me. And I'm not sure if this was clean either. I can't quite remember. I feel like there was something in it that made me think probably not, but I just had no desire to continue reading. All right, next is Stephen King's Misery. I just read this one, guys, and it wasn't bad. It was a 3.75 for me. There was a lot of content in it I didn't prefer, but I did think about keeping it on my shelf just to have a Stephen King book on my shelf. Then I was like, do I ever want to read this again? The next one is The Glass Menagerie by Tennessee Williams. I debated about this one because this is something, you know, it's a classic, it's a play I could use for school or whatnot, but I was like, I just didn't love this one, and I could probably find something else that I like and enjoy more to teach than this one. So I'm just giving it. Next is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Now, this was not my favorite book by any means. I didn't hate it, but I just kind of thought it was like meh. All right, and then next is Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. Another Trimming the TBR, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe this wasn't. I thought this was. But this had some content in it. It did have some content in it, and I really strongly disliked the content. I also I'm not a fantasy girl to begin with, and so I was having a hard time getting into this world. Like, it wasn't anything that stood out and struck to me, and then with the content that was in it, the sexual content, particularly with, I think, the evil queen in this or whatnot, like she's not called that, but she's evil and she's like a queen of something, so that's what I'm calling her. Yeah, it wasn't for me. Another one, Please Don't Hate Me, Lucy, is Divergent by Veronica Roth. I'm being mean to Lucy right now, I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm unhauling this one. I tried to read it also for my Trimming the TBR, and I just didn't get that into it. I don't know. I read a lot of dystopian, like, in my teenage years and everything, and I'm kind of wondering if I, like, have read too much for me to enjoy a lot, unless it's, like, completely new. And this was, like, too similar to other things. I also kind of guessed a lot of things that happened and then had my husband tell me how it ended, kind of thing, because he's read them and everything, and I was very underwhelmed. So next book is Nicholas Sparks's The Best of Me, which is sad because this is a very pretty cover. I love this cover, but this one really, really upset me. It really upset me how this ended. It really upset me just the whole storyline. There is an absolute 100% cheating trope in this. Like, there is actual cheating, and I did not appreciate it at all. And then the way it ended, like, I was so furious at this book. This is where I started wondering, is Nicholas Sparks for me? Because I started seeing more of this just not good or faithful or pure type of love in his books, and I don't know. I need to reread my other ones to see if I'll unhaul more, but this is definitely the first one to go. It's another Trimming the TBR video. If you guys have been watching those, then you'll probably recognize a lot of these. This is My Mistake, a memoir by Daniel Mimmaker. I think I just randomly got this because it was a couple dollars somewhere and I liked the cover. And I have no interest in whoever this guy is. I don't even know. Like, I was just like, okay. I tried and I was like, nope, not for me. Next Door by Shiri Lapina. A thriller. It was a little bit better than other thrillers, but it's still not that great. I don't think I'll ever want to read it again, so it's going off of my shelves. Killing It, an Education by Kamalis Davis. This was also another Trimming the TBR, and I just couldn't get into it. There was interesting parts about it, but I was also kind of sitting here like, I feel like this is just going to be a solid 3 stars, and I didn't want to push through for that. And the next is The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. This is the first book in the Chaos Walking series, and I was really excited about this one, you guys, because I love A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, but this was not it for me. I did not like, this was so weird, just this world and how he made it and things, and there was also a lot of language just within the first chapter or 2, and I was like, I don't think this is the book or series for me. So, and then I also ended up pulling The Book of Lost Things off of my shelf by John Connolly. I read this and I did enjoy it. I did, but it turned out to be a lot darker than I thought it was, and I was just kind of sitting here and I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to want to read that again. I think I've just been keeping it because it's got a gorgeous cover, which I am sad to give up, but like, also the spine. I'm trying to do better and just have the books that I want to read and want to reread and I like love on my shelves, and not books that I'm just kind of about or don't want to reread for a certain reason. Like, I want to get those off my shelf. So bye-bye. And then I put Miss Julia to the Rescue by Ambi Ross. This is in the Miss Julia Stirs Up Trouble series, or just the Miss Julia series. This was okay. It was fine. It was like a solid like 3 or so stars, but it was a bit slower than other cozy mysteries that I've read, and I don't know. I have no desire to read it again, so. All right, next is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I read this for a book club, and I'm glad I read it. I did enjoy it overall. Like, there's some really cool stuff in this. It's a really nice little cover, but there is a semi-detailed sex scene in the first chapter, and I want that type of thing on my shelf. And yeah, it made me super uncomfortable. So beware of that in this book. I think besides that, there is a couple of like kind of graphic things that aren't sexual, and maybe a couple cuss words. I can't remember, but the other stuff that didn't bother me nearly as much as that at the beginning. So that's the main reason why I'm just going to go ahead and unhaul this. Next, I have The Real Me by Natalie Grant, Being the Girl God Sees. I've had this for a while. Why do I have it on my shelf then? I have no desire to read this again. I've now read it twice and I don't want to read it again, so it's coming off. Next is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I also very recently read this, and honestly, this wasn't awful. And I liked kind of how it ended to set other stuff up, but it was very, very drama filled, very like, oh my goodness, there's just some things that I didn't love about it, or like the way it made me feel, and I have no desire to continue the series, so I'm just getting it off my shelf now. And then The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I DNF'd this because of sexual content. I also guessed the end, and underwhelming. So, In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. Loved the cover. Couldn't get that far in the book. It was just too slow for me. Wasn't interesting enough. And again, it was underwhelming. Like, I always look at the back of these thrillers to see like if I'm right when I can't get through them, and yeah. Next is A Psalm for the Wild Build. This is by Becky Chambers. This is another one that I read for book club, and I just, yeah, I had a lot of problems with it. It gave like some good conversation starters for sure. For book club, we had a lot of like really good conversation about a lot of stuff that was in the book, I feel like. But overall, it is like pro LGBTQ. It's got like they, them pronouns and all this stuff that I just was driving me crazy and I could not stand. There was a few other little things, but yeah, so it's not the book for me at all, so I'm giving it away. I have a signed copy of Paper Towns by John Green. I like this book. I don't even know where it is. It's down here, hiding. I have this book already. I had 2 copies, and I'm gonna go ahead and give this one to one of my best friends because this is her favorite book of John Green's, so that she can have the nice signed copy hardback. So yeah. For everybody who thinks I'm drinking coffee at like 4 o'clock in the evening, which honestly would probably do nothing for me because coffee really doesn't wake me up that much like it does other people, but I am not drinking coffee. I am drinking tea because my husband is home and he likes to drink his tea. I like to drink tea with him, and it's good for both of us. So, but yeah, we won't talk about how much sugar I put in it or anything. All right, back to the books. Next is Making Sense by Sam Harris. This guy was in 17 Questions by a New Atheist, or Is God Just a Human Invention? And 17 Other Questions raised by New Atheist. That's what it is. And I've heard enough from him. All right, next I have Heart Realigned, A Heart Realigned. This is by Elizabeth Madry, and it is in the Peacock Hill romance. I don't believe it's the first one. I think it's the third. She is a Christian author. This is a Christian contemporary romance. It was sweet. It was nice. It's just not my thing. And this one kind of hurts because I really wanted to like this one more than I did. But that is A Girl's Guide to the Outback by Jessica Kate. And I'm pretty sure it's written by an Australian. I'm pretty sure Jessica Kate is Australian. And it's half of the novel is set in Australia. And I love Australia, and I wanted all those vibes, and I just didn't feel like I got as much. And then also just the story. The last like fourth of the book, I finally felt like they did some good faith themes and they wrapped it up nice. Like I really enjoyed that part. But the first 3/4, I was like, I'm not like, it was fine. I wasn't like dragging myself through it, but I also wasn't like hopping or giddy or laughing throughout it either. So, and for a romance book, I'd really like to be doing some of that stuff. So unfortunately, I'm unhauling this one. It's so pretty too. And the next I have The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. Biggest thing to me is that this book could have been cut so much. I felt like there was so much unnecessary information, so much information that didn't hint at anything. It didn't have, really any, and it just kept going. And because there was so much that was just slow and boring and not with it, it took me quite a while to get into the book. And I don't think I'll ever read it again because of that fact. So I almost burned myself. Oh my gosh. Okay. We are almost done. Next, I'm giving away The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This could have been a 5-star. I have got a reading vlog for this, but there was just too much content in it that I just couldn't get behind and I didn't love. So I think I gave it like a 3.75 stars, I think, or maybe a 4. I have The Bromance Book Club by Lisa K. Adams. Again, some content in this, and unfortunately, because the content and because the actual plot and storyline wasn't as good and exactly what I wanted, I don't think I'll read it again, which is also upsetting because I love the cover. Can books with bad content just stop making pretty covers? Is that too much to ask in this world? Probably. I know, I'm crazy. And the next is 2x2 by Nicholas Sparks. I tried to buddy read this with Lucy. We both put it down and DNF'd it. There was just some content in it. It seemed like it was going to be a story about a father and a daughter, and that's kind of like what I went in wanting. But it really starts out with him in this the mother's relationship, but it's not like, oh, the mother dies or some tragic, like, I'm pretty sure they get a divorce, like, it's a messy whatever. And then his sister in this is a lesbian and has a partner, and I was like, okay, I'm seeing more of this character than I am the child, which is what I read it for, so I put it. This is one I pulled off of my shelves. This is Shutter. It is by Lori Ferry Stollertz. I have no recollection of what happens in this book. Sitting here and I'm like, I feel like that's probably a bad sign that it was that good if I've like blocked out any and every memory of ever reading this, even though I know I have. It's just going away. And next is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I actually liked this one decently well. I did. Don't get me wrong. I really did at the time. I don't know if I would like it as much now though. Because my reading taste, you know, your reading tastes always change and evolve a little bit. And I just don't have much desire to anymore because I'm not enjoying thrillers in general as much anymore. So I'm just, yeah, I'm just gonna go and get it off my shelf. Is The Wife Who Knew Too Much by Michelle Campbell. And the fun thing about this one is that I picked this up out of a free bin, so I didn't even pay for this one. I did enjoy it at the time that I read it. But I looked back and there was some content in this one with like cheating and that type of stuff, a very predictable plot. But yeah, so I just don't like to read that stuff. It bothers me a lot more as I, you know, as I grew up and as I got married especially, that type of stuff just like makes my skin crawl all the more. So I'm just going ahead and giving this one away too. We're done. We are done with my book reorganization and giant book haul. And if you want to see all the books, yeah, I've got some toys down here, but yeah, a giant pile. I counted them. There is indeed 40 here. Okay, 40 books. So that's like my end of year book unhaul. And then I'm sure you can look forward to a book haul after Christmas because, you know, what else are people going to get me but books? I don't know. I'd actually be pretty impressed and surprised if people found me, you know, more than like one or two things that aren't books that I like really enjoyed. So, but you know, I'm not mad about more books. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. And this is during Bookmas. I don't have all the decorations up yet, but this is during Bookmas. So I hope you guys enjoy and are enjoying your holiday season and time. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!